Hey, what's up guys? Gons here for the Face Like the Sun YouTube channel. Have you guys seen the new trailer for the movie coming out, Gods of Egypt? Well, check it out. It's pretty crazy. Its symbolism is just off the charts. Now, obviously, it's supposed to be these Egyptian gods running around and fighting each other and whatnot. But in terms of symbolism, it's pretty much Egyptian god worship. So the cast of this movie are pretty big names, but look at the people they play. Horus, Bek, Set, Ra, Hathor, Thoth, Zaya, Urshu, and Anat. Now we know about Horus. He is the god of the sun. He's one of the most significant deities in ancient Egypt. And as you know, some of our symbolism of our nation's capital come directly from this Egyptian religion, mainly the Eye of Horus, the all-seeing eye that is on the back of our dollar bill, but also the way in which Horus came to be, which was through the union of Osiris and Isis. And if you don't know the story about Osiris and Isis, you ought to check it out. It's pretty interesting. Have you ever seen the Washington Monument? It goes back to Osiris and his method of impregnating Isis to give birth to Horus. Now you also have Set or Seth. He is the god of storms, desert, chaos, and war. He was the one that killed and mutilated Osiris. You also have the character Ra, god of the sun. Hathor is the goddess of the sky, dance, love, beauty, joy, motherhood, foreign lands, mining, music, and fertility. And of course, Thoth, god of knowledge. And I've talked about Thoth in other videos and even in a Canary Cry radio podcast. He is a significant god because he was combined with the Greek god Hermes to become Hermes Trismegistus, which is a combination god of the Egyptian god Thoth and the Greek god Hermes. And of course, from Hermes Trismegistus, you have Hermeticism, which is the central philosophy of the mystery religions. So no surprises there. And then you have Anat or Aneth, who is in Ugarit, a war goddess. And in Egypt, she's also considered the war goddess who was often paired with Ashtart. And so basically, as you can tell, all these Egyptian gods are portrayed in this movie. Now, I want to bring this up just because it was a thing, and I don't want to make it a bigger issue because I do think that some of it is perpetuated in mainstream media and mainstream entertainment news and stuff like that. But there was a criticism of the film when it first got started in production, when it was highlighted that all the actors and actresses in the movie are white. There was a critical piece that was written where they called this, quote, Hollywood whitewashing. And it seems to be a theme where they use these Egyptian movies or movies set in the ancient Near East, and they're casting all white folks. Now, again, I don't want to make it a bigger issue, but there does seem to be a racial component to this because it also pointed out how there was one African-American, Chadwick Boseman, who plays Thoth, and he is casted as the, quote, magical Negro stereotype. And I guess the magical Negro stereotype is this idea that there is a supporting stock character in American movies where they are portrayed as coming to the aid of the film's white protagonist. And part of me thinks that, again, this is just Hollywood. This is simply, they're just doing their thing. This is what they've always done. And we know the roots of Hollywood. We know the spirit behind Hollywood, the principality that runs Hollywood and its system, because they know that it is modern day God worship in terms of glorifying men into making them gods. I mean, if you think about actors and actresses, they are, seen as royalty in so many ways, but there's also so much corruption and so much evil in the entertainment industry that it's pretty obvious to me that this race issue as a public outcry is part of the social engineering aspect of making people outrage over certain things. But at a more esoteric level, it is possible that there is still that sort of Ubermensch philosophy from the Nazi age playing out in terms of European descent folks portraying themselves as the gods. But again, let me know what you think about it, because for me personally, I'm not going to make it a bigger issue because I think it feeds into the racial stereotype hysteria that is so prominent and so used and weaponized in our culture and society today. You know, it seems like we were on this path to racial equality and all this stuff, but then we've seen in the last couple years that racial inequality in terms of its use for violence and things like that have not gone away, or at least that's what the mainstream media wants us to believe from certain events and things that have occurred recently involving racial profiling. But again, I don't want to feed into it, and it's not a racial thing for me. Obviously, there is absolutely zero Asians in this movie, so it's not so much of a big deal for me, but I do want to point it out because it is interesting. At a more esoteric level, something else might be going on. Now, there's a couple other things I want to point out here, because the producer of this film is Alex Proyas, and above Top Secret, there is a thread. Somebody commented a while ago back in 2011 that he is a high-level Illuminate, and he seems to be a 33-degree Mason. And who knows? I mean, that's just one guy saying it on Above Top Secret, and that's not a very good source. But having said that, the man has created some very strange films. Of course, Gods of Egypt is in post-production right now, but he also produced the film Knowing. Also, Riverworld, Garage Days, Dark City. Dark City is a very interesting film. And also Conspiracy, Spirits of the Air, Gremlins of the Clouds. And he was also the director of I, Robot and The Crow. And of course, if you know about The Crow, this was the film that cost the life of Brandon Lee, who was Bruce Lee's son. So it is very interesting. It is very strange. And actually, if you want a good review of Dark City, there is a analysis by Jay's Analysis, the Esoteric Analysis, and this was actually published back in 2010. I'll leave a link to it in the description section if you want to read it, but it's pretty interesting how it really does portray mind control, memory manipulation, and the overall conspiracy of a dark, shadowy group that's controlling society. So, there's some interesting stuff there. And furthermore, in a book called The Secret Life of Movies, Schizophrenic and Shamanic Journey in American Cinema, written by Jason Horsley, stated this, quote, "The film was written and directed by Alex Proyas of The Crow fame, and Proyas claims that the inspiration for this sinister race of soul controllers came from nightmares he had as a child, in which, quote, dark figures would come into my bedroom and rearrange things, end quote. Dark City takes its basic plot from a Twilight Zone episode and embellishes it with folklore and occult beliefs involving abducting gray aliens and succubi and all manner of parasitic other dimensional entities believed to feed on humans at their etheric hidden levels. In all cases, fictional, mythical, and folkloric, what facilitates such a conspiracy, which turns the earth not merely into a prison but a laboratory and a kind of farm, the devil's winepress, is a common factor: sleep. Humans must be rendered unconscious, not so much physically but mentally. They must be put into a waking dream state in which they are reduced to automata, puppets that meekly acquiesce to their diabolic situation without ever becoming aware of it. And so, again, a little insight into Alex Proyas and his inspiration for Dark City, having encounters with dark figures as a child. So again, this spiritual root of this producer and director, Alex Proyas, is, in my opinion, nothing more than the demonic spirits, the principalities and powers that the Bible talks about in Ephesians 6 and elsewhere. And if you look at the trailer itself, ages have passed since the gods walked among us. Before the war, they divided us for eternity. And as you see here, it's just, again, men playing these gods, ripping out their eyes, Set taking over Egypt. and only one God can save us. And who is that God? Ooh, look at that. The Eye of Horus, the all-seeing eye. You have giants, the placing of the crystal eye of Horus into himself. So again, with monsters, demons, gods, it's all sort of like this super intense, super CGI film. And again, you could check out the trailer with all the audio and everything. And it looks like it's going to be, I don't know, okay in terms of even the special effects and everything. I personally think it's going to bomb because it just looks kind of bad in terms of its acting and everything. Basically, Jared Butler, the guy from 300, and Brenton Thwaites, I don't know how to pronounce his name, the guy from Game of Thrones, which I have not seen really, in a movie together. That's sort of the idea, the pitch, if you will. But ultimately, again, this is just fallen angel worship, and that's all this is. And this is, again, in my opinion, just the elite using the silver screen to pay homage to the lowercase g gods, to these fallen angels, and glorifying them. And that's all this is, in my opinion. So it might be, entertaining to watch or whatever, but ultimately they're trying to condition your mind to worship these gods along with the elite. And that's all this is. This film's coming out in April of 2016. So let me know what you think about it. And that's about it. Hope you guys have an awesome day. God bless. Not from the Egyptian gods, but the real God, Jesus Christ.